piece first, and then I'll tell you. The very last piece we'll be playing tonight is a piece entitled Xerxes. I've worked on it. Many of you know it as Xerxes. He was the Persian king who was famous for basically kicking everybody's butt. The story that I'm most familiar with is the story of the 300 Spartans who stood and held the hot gates against Xerxes' army, but not for long. So it's a fun concert march. It's written by another one of my favorite composers, John Mackey. It uses a bunch of really cool percussion. It's loud and it's bombastic, and it gives our saxophone section a chance to play on some soprano saxophones, and we'll be hearing a little solo from Janelle in that one. It's a very, very cool piece, and it's a lot of fun. We're going to end the concert with that tonight. The reason I wanted to introduce that first is because the next piece we're going to be playing is a very, very, very somber piece of music. And I would really appreciate it at the end of the piece if you chose not to clap. If instead you would let the piece sit and you could maybe reflect on the piece in silence. And after a moment or two, we'll go ahead and jump in with the last piece, and then you can go crazy at the end of that. An American Elegy is a piece that is very, very close and dear to me. In 1999, on April 20th, I was at school in the University of Colorado, having the time of my life, learning how to be a band director there. And I was in the band, and I was part of a fraternity called Kappa Kappa Psi, which is a band service fraternity. It's not like we didn't have a frat house, and there was no hazing, and there were no parties. It was literally a service fraternity that was designed to help out with concert productions, a lot like our Triumph organization now. And on April 20th in 1999, something really tragic happened. There was a mass shooting at a school in Colorado, Columbine High School. And it was very close to the university I was at. And a lot of my friends were students at Columbine and had younger brothers and sisters who were at school that day. And I will never forget that morning when we found out what was going on, I was one of the few kids who had a TV in my dorm room. And so my friend Andy came over and she said, "Can you turn on the TV? I have to watch. My brother's at Columbine High School, and there's explosions and guns, and I haven't heard from him," because this was before everybody had a cell phone. And so we sat there, and we worried all day that her brother was okay. Luckily, her brother was fine. But there were 12 students and a teacher that day who didn't come home from school because some kids were bullied, and awful things happened. And so I started off by telling you about Kappa Kappa Psi. Because we were so close to it, and because we had so many friends there and so many families there, we decided to commission this piece, an American Elegy, and it's actually written by one of the band world's most famous composers, Frank Ticheli, who's the professor of composition down at USC. And so our chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi got together, and that's why I'm wearing my Kappa Kappa Psi pin tonight. And we pooled our resources, and we asked for donations, and we raised enough money to have this piece of music written. And we flew Frank Ticheli out on the 1-year anniversary, so April 20th, 2000. And he conducted the world premiere of this piece with the Columbine High School Band. And I'd had a chance to chat with him that week and work with him because we did a whole commemorative concert. And on the day of the concert, the euphonium player from Columbine High School was too emotionally wrapped up in it and couldn't perform. And so Frank Kelly asked me to play the euphonium part with the Columbine High School Band on the world premiere of this piece. And it was one of the most defining moments for me as a musician, and what music can mean and what it can say. This piece is just gorgeous. It's beautiful. It covers all the range of human emotions. You'll hear a mysterious opening, and you'll hear pieces of the music that reference the name Columbine, and it moves towards sort of the sun coming up and the day starting and it being a bright and shining day. And then you can hear in the piece how when you have anguish, when you have pain, it doesn't hit you all at once. You're not just sad. It hits you in a wave or two. And sometimes it sticks around a little longer, and you have to feel that and kind of ride it out, and you'll hear those in the piece. But the climax of the piece, the moment I really want you to listen for, is a moment where he quotes the school's alma mater. And the words at this part of the alma mater are, "We are Columbine. We are all Columbine." And I think that's very true. It's something that's been lost a little bit in the last 15 years. We see these tragedies happening over and over. And the words that we used at the time were "never again," but we still see it happening. So this piece is to commemorate not just those we lost at Columbine, but every time a student steps on a school and doesn't feel safe, or any other time that this has happened and someone has resorted to violence to solve a problem and we know it doesn't. So Again, I ask you at the end of this piece, please don't clap. We'll have just a moment of silence at the end, and then we'll jump into our last piece. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. This is an American Elegy by Frank Ticheli.